All right. It's true. It is 100% true. I did sabotage my Planet Comic-Con booth, and I'm going to tell you the story so you can avoid the same mistakes that I made. This was my third year doing Planet Comic-Con, which is our local, pop culture convention. And I had a really successful year every year. It was a blast. But I rearranged my booth and I completely sabotaged my booth. It's good because I've decided to, reinvent what I do, change what I do. Let's check the notebook. I made notes for this. Does that make me an adult now? What are you doing? I left the door open, didn't I? I had my wrong light on. Still getting my studio space set up. So why would you want to pay the fee to rent a booth? And they can be expensive at some of these bigger shows. Well, it's really two reasons in my opinion. One, if you have a large following, which I do not, but if you have a large following of people and you're going to use this as a place to meet and greet followers, maybe you make props or something like that, that's a really cool time to actually have some of the examples of the work that you make, and you can meet people, tell them you're going to be there, shake hands. It's a really nice public forum to meet people that you would never get to interact with otherwise. So that's a really cool way to do that. Second thing is, if you're gonna sell products, you make things that sort of blend into the pop culture type identity, like Iron Man here. So I started out doing the shows to sell things that I'd made in my spare time, and it turned out being a little bit of getting to meet people that were local to my area, which was awesome. And the third thing is to take orders. So like if you make large things that won't fit in the show, you can have maybe one example of something that you make, and then you'll have a book where you say, I can make this for you, but it's going to take me 3 months, and I'll take your name down and take a deposit, and you're on the list, so you can do an order list. When you go to purchase your booth space online, there's going to be a fine print section that describes exactly what you're purchasing. You should really read through that carefully, because there will be things listed in that description that will matter. They'll describe things you can and can't do. And since this is what you're purchasing at the time you're purchasing, print that out. Take it with you. Because the people that run the shows, there's hundreds of people that run these shows, and not every person knows all of the rules. I haven't had anything large happen, but I've had a couple of disagreements with people not being aware of what the contract actually said. You can't have that. Actually, yes, it says I can right here. Oh, no problem. Because you have it in black and white, you have it in writing, no one gives you any guff about that. You're gonna have to pay sales tax. Wherever you go, even if you travel, you need to get a sales tax license for that county, district, state area. Look into that. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but it needs to be done. So pay sales tax to the local area that you are selling in. What is my hand doing? Purchase your booth early, and as soon as they offer those booth spaces, grab one. Otherwise, you're going to miss out, and they're cheaper when you buy them early. Now you've bought your booth space, you're super excited, you're ready to rock and roll. Now you got to prepare yourself for this weekend. I recommend that you figure out how big the table they're gonna give you is. Tape that out on the floor in like your garage. Have your table completely planned out, or your booth, a month before you go. If you're gonna do racks or displays or whatever, do all that well before the show begins. That way, when you go into the show on Thursday, setup day, you're ready to rock and roll. This goes here, this goes here, this looks best here, this looks best there. There isn't any of this sort of like standing back going, move that to the left a little bit. There isn't any of that, because time is key when you're doing this. It's going to be a madhouse when you're setting up. There's going to be cars pulling in, people on segways, riding through. It's a madhouse. Think vertically. The max height you can have in our local show is 10 feet. Very few exhibitors in my area max that out. And so people are walking and they're trying to find you if they know you're going to be there. And they're looking and they can't see you because you blend into a sea of other booths. But if you can get something high up, 10 feet, you're going to stick out like a sore thumb. I don't think it sticks out much further. Maybe if it swells, but you'd have to smash the crap out of it to get it to stick out. This year, I actually made a foam TIE fighter, and he was pulling like a sign behind him, like one of those airplanes on the beach. They pull the Eat at Joe's Crab Shack sign. Well, he was pulling my toucan logo sign. And that was 10 feet up, so it was very easy from someone, 500 feet away to be like, hey, look, there's the toucan guy. The Ducan, he's down there. Let's go see him. And now we get to the really, really, really important stuff. This is where my show went off the rails. I totally screwed up. They allowed me to have tables behind me this year. So normally the year prior it was just your table. I usually rent 2 tables, and that's all you can do. Every product that you sell or that you make or that you're showing has to be on the 2 tables that you purchased. Nothing behind you except for like a banner. You can have like this general area. This year they said, hey, you can have a rack or a table behind you. And I was like, oh wow, that's double the space. So that's what I did. I had a combination this year. I had some sculptures that were sold, like my Millennium Falcon and my Slave One, but I wanted people to see them because they'd never been in public, they'd never seen the light of day, and I had them up front, but they were not for sale. And behind me, I built these big, great racks at a grid wall. This is grid wall. You can buy hooks of all different sizes. It comes usually in like 2 feet wide, 8 feet tall. Buy it on Amazon. It's not terribly expensive and it lasts you forever. So this year I had grid wall behind me and I went up like 8 feet. And I had hung on the grid wall behind me all these beautiful art plaques and things that I had made. So picture it. You have my 2 tables in front of me with my Millennium Falcon, Slave One, and all that. Really cool big sculptures that were not for sale. Then you had me, my ugly mug, and then behind me you had a lot of stuff that was for sale. The bulk of what I had for sale was back here, between me and the customer. No, that's a huge mistake. Every year prior, I had my things I was selling on the table, like right in their face where they can grab it, touch it, feel it, look it, smell it, whatever they want to do, it's right there. They don't have to talk to me or ask me. And that's where I messed up. People came to the table. Backing up just a little bit, when someone pays to go to a Planet Comic-Con or something along those lines, it's not a cheap ticket. And so they're trying to get the most out of their money when they go in if they only have a day. So it's kind of like a scramble. We have 4 hours before we have to make the tram back to the parking lot. We need to go, hurry, so run. So people are overwhelmed. Their senses are just bombarded with awesome costumes and so much to look at. They are cruising quick. Your booth needs to have a very clear message of what it is that you sell. Pick the product that's most important to you and make that thing very, very prominent and make it simple and easy, because you need to be able to, if someone ran by your booth, physically ran by, would they be able to tell what you were selling just by glancing over? As they ran by, could they tell what you sold? You've probably got 120 seconds with a potential customer at a show that's that packed. You got, I would say, 2 minutes max to try to get something in their hands to look at. And that's if you get their attention. My plan going forward would be have something on the table that's flashy, pretty, big. If you can tie it directly to the products that you sell, do that. That brings people in. And then have nothing between them and the thing you're trying to sell. Nothing. My sales were the lowest they've been in 3 years because of the way I designed my booth this year. And I brought far more stuff, and it wasn't the people. We had William Shatner. The turnout at the show was great, so it's 100% my fault. Engage people. It's one of the worst things you can do at a booth is to be like this. Someone comes up, they love what you do, you're like, hey, what's up? What's going on? That's like an instant turnoff. You're like this, you look over and glance at them, yeah, let me know if you need anything. No, man, put the phone, savor the moment. You've spent hundreds, possibly thousands of dollars to come to the show. Put the phone away, take a couple snaps. If you want to do a camera, have a GoPro or something that's not, going to take your attention, and just enjoy it. Enjoy the moment, because it comes around once a year, at least it does for me. And don't make the same mistakes I did. Had a blast at the show. Met a lot of really, really cool people. And got a lot of good feedback on the stuff that I make. But I was trying to sell things this year. I normally cosplay as Deadpool. I didn't cosplay as Deadpool this year because I stayed at my booth and I was trying to interact and sell, and I did not sell very much because I put it all behind me. And the stuff that was on the table, the bulk of the big things weren't for sale. They already sold. So yeah, I sabotaged. I sunk my Comic-Con this year. Oh well. You live, you learn. It was a learning experience. And cheers to learning experiences. What did I miss? When you get old, you gotta hold it. I think we covered it. I will link down in the description where to get grid wall from Amazon and all the things that I use to set my booth up. They are affiliate links, so if you purchase anything from those links below, it helps support the channel. I'll also put in all my camera gear and jazz. Yeah, that's it. That's it.